Hello and welcome to English 102. I will be your instructor, Dr. Sam Lackey. I'm excited to get started. I hope you are too. So this is our introductory lecture. I will keep it brief. I'm not really going to get into any of our course material yet. I will do that a little later this week. I will have a week 1 lecture posted probably by Tuesday at the latest of week 1. So this is just an introduction. This is just designed to help us get started as we begin the semester. Like I said, I'll keep it brief. I just want to talk a little bit about our weekly modules in Web Campus and just kind of mention the syllabus and provide a brief overview of what to expect, just kind of give you guys an idea of what we'll be doing in this class this semester. So obviously, this is English 102 Composition 2. So this is part 2 of a 2-step process that began back in English 101. So most of you already kind of know what English 2 is all about. You probably know that it is a continuation of English 101. So just to quote our actual course description for a moment, 102 emphasizes a few things. Number 1, writing from sources. Number 2, argumentation. Number 3, the research paper, and that is our major assignment for the semester. I'll be talking more about that. And then number 4, research techniques, which will obviously come in handy when we are completing the research paper. So those are our main areas of focus. So in other words, we're going to be continuing to work on our critical writing and reading skills. Those were the things that you were doing back in 101, and we are continuing to do them here in 102. But we're also really emphasizing research a lot more than we did back in 101. So chances are a lot of you did at least a little bit of research in your 101 classes. Maybe your final assignment was some type of argumentative research paper. If you took me for English 101, that was, of course, your final assignment. So a lot of 101 classes do provide a little bit of instruction on research, and that is an element of a lot of 101s, but it's not usually a huge element of most 101s. So that's the big change here in 102. We're spending more time researching, and we're going to be talking a lot more about research strategies, and ultimately we're putting together a lengthy, very detailed, very in-depth research paper that is almost certainly going to be longer and sort of more complex, more in-depth than any of the papers that you wrote in 101. So everything that we do in here is sort of working toward the research paper. Everything we do is getting us ready to produce that research paper near the end of the semester. So I'll talk a little bit more about that. So if you did well in 101, good news. You're equipped for what we're about to start on in 102. If you struggled in 101, don't worry, because there's always some overlap between the classes. If you struggled in certain areas in 101, you might be able to address some of those same areas in 102. And of course, I'm here to help whenever you have questions or problems. So let's just talk a little bit about some of the basics. You guys probably have already gone into Web Campus if you're watching this video. You need to get acquainted with our weekly modules. So most of you already know what I'm talking about. If you've taken previous classes of any sort at GBC, you've probably used Web Campus. That's what we use for our online classes. And it's very important for an online class that you guys get into a regular routine of checking the weekly modules at the beginning of each week. Because on the Monday morning of each week, I will post everything that you need for that week. And I like to keep it simple. I don't like a lot of moving parts in my online classes. So typically, a weekly module will consist of just a handful of things. Number 1, what I call the overview. The week 1 overview, for example, is already available. You can read it now. This is just basically, it is what it says. It is what it says it is. It's an overview of what we're doing in the class that week. So you can almost think of it as lecture notes. A lot of what you will see in the overview will be quite a bit similar to what I'm talking about in lecture, but often I'll get a little more in depth, I'll get a little more detailed in lecture. The overview is more of a summary that just gives you a general idea of what we're doing. And also inside that overview, I will have the reading assignment for that week. I will include anything that might be due that week, any written work that might be due will be posted. You'll have links to all of that. So it'll all be very easy to see and very easy to navigate. The only other thing that you really need to look for and pay attention to in the modules will be, of course, my weekly lectures, which will appear just like this one does. You'll have links. I will also embed these videos into the overview. So you'll have multiple ways of watching these videos. And I strongly encourage that you do so because 102 is a little bit more difficult than 101. We cover a lot of ground. The level of work is a bit higher, the level of responsibility is a bit higher, and there's a lot of information to process. So you guys need to utilize these lectures along with the overviews, along with the weekly reading assignments to help you keep up and understand throughout the semester. So if you can just get into the habit of doing all of those things, reading the overview, watching my lectures, and just making sure you're keeping up with assignments, make sure you know when the next thing is due, you should be in good shape. I like to establish that routine early in the semester, and then we really don't deviate from it. A couple of things that will be evident when you start looking in the modules. The way I think of a week is like this. A week for us begins first thing on Monday morning. And that's when I post everything. That's when I publish the module and everything becomes available for you. Everything that I just mentioned. So the week begins on Monday morning, and then that week will end at midnight on Sunday night. So we run from Monday morning all the way to Sunday. That is our full week. So almost all of our assignments will be due at the end of weeks. That means Sunday night by midnight or by 11:59 p.m. That's the way I set the assignments up in Web Campus. So just be aware of that. That's what a week is for us. And we kind of operate on a weekly basis throughout this semester. So a couple of other things to check out, not every week, but here at the beginning, make sure you take a look at the syllabus. I've posted that. It's in the week 1 module. You can also access it by going to the syllabus tab on that left-hand toolbar. You should see that when you get into Web Campus. It's like over there with announcements and modules and all those other things, all those other features that we can use. So the syllabus, again, you don't need to read every word and you don't need to look at it every week, but here at the beginning of the semester, just glance at it, read it, at least read the schedule. I don't expect you guys to read everything about my policies and all that stuff, but there is good info there. So if you have any questions, if you want to see my email, my office location, my office hours, I know we're online, but those of you who are located in or near Winnemucca, you can come and see me in person. I'm based at the Winnemucca Center. So all my info is, of course, available in the syllabus, but the most important stuff in the syllabus, the most important aspect is the course schedule. And that's really what I want you guys to look at. Just take a look at when assignments are due, just kind of get a general feel for how we are moving through each week throughout the semester. You don't have to memorize that. And again, if you go to the syllabus page, or if you click on the syllabus tab, you'll have a link to the syllabus and you can see all of the assignments and all of the due dates. I think you can also see that info if you click on assignments. You'll see due dates everything that we're doing over the course of the semester. So just try to stay on top of our schedule, have a general idea of what's going on. But again, the main thing is to keep up with the weekly modules. So a couple other things very quickly that I wanted to mention. No textbook required in this class, so you can thank me later. That's not something that I'm not doing it as a courtesy. It's just the way I've been doing 102 for a while. I kind of got tired of the typical 102 textbooks. None of them really suited me. So what I've done over the years, because I've been teaching 102 for about 12 years now, I've compiled a lot of material from a lot of different books. So I'm kind of committing various levels of copyright violations here, because I've pulled a lot of readings from a lot of books over the years. And I've kind of created my own, what I call sort of my own course pack of readings. So I'm going to make all of our readings available in PDF form in our weekly modules. So you guys don't need to spend any money on a book. That should have been made clear when you were first signing up for this class. So I hope nobody got confused and bought anything. I just don't see the need for a textbook. I have all of the readings that you guys need, but it is important that you keep up with our readings. We will not have reading homework every single week, but we will have something to read on most weeks. So some students kind of get a false sense of security. They hear that there's no book, so they think, oh, well, then we don't have to do any reading. No, that's not true. And in fact, we're actually going to end up doing more reading in here than we did in 101. But a lot of the reading that you'll do will be the research that you yourself conduct. And we'll talk more about that later. But we'll be doing a lot of research, as I mentioned. You'll be finding books and articles that you will later use to help you on your research paper. So a lot of the reading will be stuff that you find, not always stuff that I assign. But especially early in the semester, when we haven't really done any research yet, I will provide readings for you. And again, they will be in PDF form. You can save them, read them on your computers, print them, do whatever you want. But I do expect you to read them. And we'll talk more about those assignments in the week one. At least I'll talk about the first assignments in the week one lecture. What else? Oh yeah, so we have what I call the research journal. And if you go inside the module and look at the assignments or the syllabus, I believe I have everything, all of those journal assignments in my schedule in the syllabus. So this is just kind of a thing that we do as we progress through the semester. You won't have to do a journal entry every week, but a lot of the weeks I'll just have a relatively small prompt for you to respond to, or some of the later research journals will be very much based on your own research. And we're just going to use these to kind of help us keep a log of our activities, the things that we're learning, the research that we're conducting. We can practice a few of our new techniques that we pick up in class. We can practice some of those in our research journal entries. So they're worth about 10 points each, not super big assignments, but those points do add up over the course of the semester, and I think we'll have maybe 6 or 7 or 8 of those. I don't remember the exact number, but again, that won't be every week, but a lot of weeks we will have research journal entries to do by the end of the week. And I typically give you guys a break, though, on any week where we have a major assignment due. I will not make you do a research journal. But if there's nothing else really going on that week other than maybe a reading assignment, you can pretty much count on a journal entry being due by the end of the week. So just, again, stay on top of everything and take a few moments here today on Monday or maybe tomorrow. Just take a little bit of time to navigate and sort of check out all of the stuff in the modules. Just get familiar, get comfortable, and if you're having trouble finding anything, let me know. All right. So let's talk a little bit more about what we're going to be doing in this class, a few more skills that we're going to be developing. So a big one has to do with reading critically. And maybe you guys have heard or talked about critical reading. You probably heard a little bit about it, at least in 101. But in here, again, it's really important because we need to sort of enhance our reading skills in order to conduct quality research. And that's why critical reading is so important in 102. I don't have to teach you guys how to read, I hope. You're already literate, but we need to become closer and more critical readers, which means a few things. And we're going to be working on these strategies in weeks 1 and 2. We need to work on asking questions about what we read. That's one skill that we're going to develop. Another skill will be annotating. And you can see this info in the week 1 overview. Annotation is a very important skill that we're going to talk about a lot over the course of the first couple of weeks of the semester. It basically just means taking notes while you read. So what we're trying to move away from is what we call passive reading. And again, we can all read, but a lot of us read with only half of our attention devoted to what we're actually reading. And you guys have probably experienced this before. I'll talk about it more in the week 1 in the week 1 lecture. But we have so many distractions in the modern age. Technology, obviously social media, friends, family, roommates, whatever. It's easy to not pay full attention when we are reading. But in this class, we're going to work on reading with pen in hand. And that's what annotating is all about. When we annotate, we're simply taking notes as we read. We're writing things down, we're asking questions, we're underlining, we're highlighting, and that really does help. So we'll talk more about that in week 1, and we're just trying to sort of step up our overall reading game. And those are skills that we're going to work on early so we can get ready for our research. We're also going to be just sort of engaging in general writing practice. We're going to be trying on a lot of different persuasive or argumentative strategies. So in many ways, we're going to be learning new ways to write, new techniques to employ, new strategies to use. So it's just like learning anything else. If you want to get better at something, you have to practice. So we are going to be practicing. That's where the research journals come in. The research journal entries, and then also we'll have time in class to do some practice writing as well. Number 3, of kind of the big things that we're doing in here, like I've said before, research. We have to conduct quality research. We have to find good sources. And again, some of us have done this before, others perhaps have not. But we're going to get familiar with our GBC library databases. Those are great resources when it comes to research. But we're also going to learn how to take advantage of Google and some sort of everyday tools that we all have access to all the time. So I'm going to kind of use a little bit of what we already know. We all engage in some level of research. If you've ever gotten lost down a Wikipedia rabbit hole and you've spent hours reading stuff, either whether it be on various websites or in Wikipedia or somewhere else, we've all done research, but maybe just not about important things. Now we're going to take some of those same skills and use them to help us with our own research and eventually our research papers. So we're going to spend a lot of time on research, but a lot of that time will be outside of class. So I'm going to kind of equip you, provide you with some skills, some new research skills, but you'll have to do most of the actual searching at home outside of class. But of course, we can do that. Next up, we have to write about our sources. And this is, again, kind of a different style of writing that a lot of us probably don't have a lot of experience with. And a lot of the sources that we're going to be finding are going to be complex. A lot of them are going to be difficult in various ways. Some of them might be long. Some of them might be written for academic audiences or professional audiences. So they're kind of specialized. They're kind of difficult to get through. So it's not like sitting down and reading, somebody's Facebook post or reading a, quick magazine article. Some of these sources are going to take a new set of skills. We need to know sort of new strategies, new techniques for both reading them and being able to then summarize them, analyze them, talk about them in intelligent ways. So we're going to be working on those skills as well. And of course, ultimately, we're putting together research papers. And these papers, like I said before, in terms of scope and scale, they're probably bigger than the types of writing that we've done before. But luckily, we're spending many weeks working just on the research paper. So around week 10, if you look at the schedule, around week 10 or week 11, we devote all of our attention from that point on. We devote all of our attention to writing the research papers. We're going to be outlining. We're going to be drafting, because writing is a process, as many of you hopefully learned in 101. So we're going to be moving through all of our assignments in stages. But that's especially true of the research paper because it's so big and it's so important. So we're going to spend weeks and weeks on it. And even before week 10, all of the other assignments that we complete, beginning week 1, everything that we do is geared toward getting us ready for the research paper. So just keep that in mind. And it's never too early to start thinking about the research paper. So around week 4, maybe week 5, I can't remember exactly, we're going to start choosing topics and getting started on research. So you can start thinking about potential research paper topics right now, because we're going to be sticking with the topic that we choose. Around week 4, week 5, we're going to be sticking with that topic for the rest of the semester. So you need to pick something that you care about. You need to pick something that you are interested in. It helps if you're already a bit knowledgeable about your topic, but that is not a requirement. You have plenty of time to learn. But you should think about, your own personal ideas, your own interests. What do you like? Think about what you're going to school for. What's your major? What is your area of interest? What would you like to do after you complete your education? These papers work well if you're able to write about something that's close to you, close to your life, close to your experiences, something that you have knowledge with, experience with. That makes the process go a lot smoother. So you can start thinking, even just right now, what are your interests? What are some things that you might like to explore, some different areas? This could mean current events, big controversies that are going on right now, or if you're really interested in your major or your future career field, you can start thinking about ongoing debates within those areas. Like if you're going to school to become a nurse, or if you're going to school to be an engineer, you might want to think about those career fields and what's going on in them right now. Are there issues that might be debated, things that you could talk about? And then also think about your interests. Just what do you like to do? Even just like as pastimes or leisure activities. Sometimes you can find topics there as well. But we'll talk a lot more about that in the weeks to come. So before I sign off, just one more thing I want to mention. In my live classes, I make my students write a little bit on the first day. I can't really make you guys do it. I don't want to make it a formal assignment, but I encourage you at the end of this lecture to just jot down a few things. Just take about 2 or 3, maybe 5 minutes to just write down very quick answers to the following questions. I want you to do a little self-evaluation here. So think about it. Who are you as a writer? Who are you? What are you as a writer? I know not all of us like to write, just like not all of us like to read. But just as was the case in 101, you have to do a lot of both in 102. And even if you don't like writing, you still are a writer. Like it or not, because you have to write for school. So even if it's not something that brings you pleasure, even if it's not something that you think you're very good at, we all have to write. So we all have our own profiles or identities as writers. So who are you as a writer? Are you confident? Do you tend to import humor, personal experience? Do you typically take multiple days to produce your work, or are you the all-nighter type who likes to stay up the night before something's due and put it together at the last possible minute? So just answer some basic questions about your previous writing experiences. What did you do well in back in English 101? Where did you succeed? And also, where did you struggle? What were some things that you needed to kind of, get, where are some areas that maybe you need to improve on? And then talk a little bit about sort of what are your goals? What do you want to accomplish here in 102? Obviously, you want to get a good grade. I understand that. But what are some other things you want to accomplish as a reader and as a writer? It's always good to have a few of those in mind at the start of a semester. So that's pretty much it for the intro. Just check out the week 1 module. Take a look at the overview. Make sure you're looking at all the assignments, everything else that's available in the modules. If you have any questions, let me know. Take a look at the syllabus, and the week 1 lecture will be available by Tuesday. So make sure to check that out. If you have any questions, email me. This is an online class, so the best way to contact me is email for most of you. But again, if you're around Winnemucca, I have office hours. You can see my office location and my office hours on the first page of the syllabus. And then you can also all my contact info is there, so you can always see me in person. We can talk through email, over the phone, and we can even do video conferencing. But it's important to keep those lines of communication open. So if you have any questions or problems, issues, let me know. And I'll see you soon in the week 1 lecture.